In this video, I want to talk about how frustrations can impact both your performance and your progress as a Counter-Strike player. It probably sounds very relatable that whether it's Team CS or you're playing pugs or FACEIT with friends, at some point you have felt a certain form of frustration, and in this moment you feel like you're not performing as good as you can when you're more calm in the head and focused on the right things. And this is exactly the topic that I want to discuss today. How are these frustrations causing these negative effects on our performance and our progress? And most of all, where is this frustration, or this tilt as we call it in esports often, coming from? And what can we do about this? As a sport psychologist and a head coach, I have worked with many players who at some point experience frustrations. And I also want to point out, first of all, that feeling frustrated about anything regarding Counter-Strike is quite normal. I believe everybody has some form of threshold, which can be higher or lower, but when certain factors come together, it is normal to feel some form of frustration, because it shows what motivation you have, what goals you have, and therefore this negative emotion is coming up to you. And it's not something you can control. So this is where I want to start. Your feeling of frustration is not your fault. It is something that just happens. You don't control your feelings, but you can control how you react on your feelings. And this is what I want to dig deeper into today. How can we notice, first of all, that we are in a frustrated state, and when we are in this state, how do we get back? So that's going to be the main topic. First and foremost, I think it's important to talk about where is frustration coming from. And I think there's two big categories. One being internal frustrations and two being external frustrations. And we'll start with those external frustrations. So external sources, things outside yourself that are causing the frustration that you are feeling, to whatever extent. Sources of frustrations could be a bad internet connection, it can be your teammates doing moves that you don't like, it could be the enemies playing extremely good. Those are all factors that are kind of out of your control. They don't have much to do with you, but they are impacting how your game is gonna go. And they are a very easy thing to distract you from what you should actually be focused on, which is yourself and how you can optimize your game. So those are external sources, and you can probably think about many more. When it comes to this category of frustrations and like where they are coming from, there is not much you can do really. As I said before, they are outside your control, and the best thing to do is to accept this as fast as possible and to refocus on things that are inside your control. And this is where the second category of internal sources of frustrations are coming from. A lot of players are frustrated with moves they are doing, with mistakes they are repeatedly making, with progress not going as fast as they want to, maybe with communication that's not going how they expected it. It can be any type of things that you are controlling, but you are not satisfied with how you are executing it. So these would be more internal sources of frustration. And when we talk about those types, I think there is quite some things we can do. A first thing is gaining more knowledge. If you understand how this mechanism of you feeling tilted because of XYZ is happening, that's the first really important step that a lot of people are missing. I think a really important second aspect here is, what is your goal? What are you focusing on when you are playing? Are you trying to win the game? Is that your only goal? Are you trying to improve in certain areas? What is it that drives you in the moment? And this will define how frustrated you will feel when certain things go wrong. Let's say, for example, that just winning the game is your only goal. At a score where it's looking like you will not win the game, or when there's factors outside your control leading to you not winning the game, this is where you will feel frustrated. So it is very good to have multiple goals, and quite some goals that you can control. Some goals that even if you are missing some shots, if you're not playing your best game, you can still accomplish. Let's say communication is a big working point for you, then this is something you completely control. You will try to put some specific goal on how much you want to communicate, in what situations, in what roles. Do you want to suggest an ending? Do you want to give input before the round? These type of things can be a goal for you. And on the other hand, if you have goals like I need to reach 20 or 25 kills or whatever it may be, you are kind of setting yourself up for failure in a way, and you will be more likely to feel frustrated. A third really important aspect in this case is that threshold that I was talking about earlier. And I believe everybody has some form of threshold on how fast they experience those type of negative emotions, but also on how they cope with them and at what point they feel like they need to react on it or they need to pass it on to teammates. And I think this threshold is not something static that's always set, but it is something that is learned by the environment that you have played in the past, that you see how other people have dealt with emotions in the past. But that's also a good thing, as it means that it's something that you can improve on. And if you actually put effort into this, you reflect on how you're doing, I think you can move the threshold higher and higher. And you can also learn for yourself certain copings and ways when you are feeling frustrated to not let it impact your own game, but also not impact negatively on your teammates, which is a very dangerous thing when you are feeling frustrated. I think all of us can imagine a case where you saw a random teammate of you getting extremely frustrated, their frustrations impacting your team, and therefore everybody starting to play worse. And what this person is doing when they are not able to control their emotions, or they are not able to behave or react on their emotion in a productive way, is they're kinda self-harming their own goal. They probably wanted to win, therefore they see that they are not winning and they feel frustrated. Their frustrations passing on to the team makes the team play worse and more distracted. That person itself is more distracted and not focused on their own game. Therefore, you are all kind of doing what you wanted to avoid. If you have reflected a little bit on your emotions, your frustrations, how you dealt with it, you might be wondering now, what is the next step? How can I improve in this area? Maybe it's not too bad, but you will still feel like, sometimes it is impacting my game. I think the most important thing, and I say this as a psychologist always in like the first sessions with every esports athlete I work with, is to focus on things inside your control. And I will define what are things inside your control. And there's three zones of influence. You have a zone which every factor you almost completely control. There's a zone with things you don't control at all, and there's a zone of influence, which is a bit tricky. You have some control on it, and there's also some part outside your control. You could see the outcome of a game as a zone of influence. You obviously influence the result of the game, but you don't control it. There's 9 other players, there's a lot of things happening that you don't control. So you can do this exercise for yourself. Just draw 3 circles and write down things that impact a Counter-Strike performance in these 3 circles and see what factors, and there is many factors in all circles, are in your control, are in your influence, and are not in your control. It's extremely important to realize when you are shifting to the most right zone with factors outside your control that you learn to get back ASAP. Okay. Just refocus your attention on some factors in the game, whether it's going in certain setups, whether it's communicating, giving energy, just doing the bare minimum in terms of comms, focusing on economy, focusing on your crosshair placements. These type of things can help you to get back out of the zone. And after the game, you could even evaluate yourself and think, how much time did I spend in any of these zones, and what can I do next time to move even faster? As it's extremely dangerous to be too long in a zone where you are not focused on factors in your control. They will lead to frustrations, you will not be maximizing your performance, and you will likely have an impact on your teammates because you're not communicating the way you should. You're maybe saying things that are causing them to be less focused. Maybe you go in some toxic tilted mode. There's a lot of things possible. So for your own performance and progress, hyper important to set yourself some goals. What do you want to focus on? What do you want to improve on? Which should not be only winning, which is not something you can fully control, to be able to perform to the best of your capacities. And please think for yourself how many factors you have in your individual output to focus on, to work on, to improve on. And if you do this, and you are always focused on this, you are making progress over time, you will win more. Certified. It just takes time. It takes more games, but if you are improving your level, you will make progress in whatever you're working towards. Lastly, I also want to stretch that you should not be overly hard on yourself. It is not always easy to control your frustrations. Like I said, you don't choose to be frustrated, but you choose how you react to your frustration. This is an important distinction. Sometimes it will be too much, but you can learn to deal with it, to find a coping that works for you. Maybe you need to write something down, maybe you just need to be silent for 5 seconds, maybe you can refocus on something. But being aware and wanting to also improve in this area, just like you improve your aim, your crosshair placement, your utility, you can improve your emotional coping, you can improve your behavior on frustrations. And you will feel, if you are less frustrated, if you are able to deal with your tilt, you'll feel much better. You won't feel negative after a game, your teammates will perform better, and they will like playing with you more, and you will be more focused on your individual output, and you will give more progress for yourself, you will give more performance, and this is exactly what you are trying to accomplish. The last part I want to discuss is when you see that people around you are getting frustrated. This is something in your zone of influence. You can influence, potentially, to make them feel less frustrated, to deal better with their frustrations, or to refocus them. If you feel in freeze time that somebody is still frustrated about past rounds, which is something we cannot control anymore and is not helpful towards the future most of the times, then you can just start talking about future rounds, suggesting ideas, asking questions to distract that person and to refocus them onto things that they can control. And this is where you will really shine. Because not only are you helping yourself and the team, you're also preventing people from going into distracted modes, which is helping yourself also not being distracted and falling into this trap. The key in a nutshell, because this is a very short video, on how to deal better with your frustrations or with your teammates' frustrations or tilts, is knowing your goals, having goals inside your control, focusing on your own progress and individual outputs, and when you feel frustrated, try to shift back into that zone of controllables. Think about, what do I control this game? And there's so many factors, tactical, technical, mental, that you control, and it would be way better to focus on the whole game. Until this part of the video, I wish you the best of luck trying these things out. Let me know how it goes, and as always, feel free to like and subscribe to see more. Thank you.